inviting me to this conference. It's a pleasure to be in Western Australia, given I'm based in Sydney, New South Wales. It's always really, really nice to come to Western Australia. My special thanks go to Dr. Gabriele Maluga, the German honorary consul for Western Australia. She is a fantastic person, making everything possible that I can imagine here. So big thanks to Dr. Maluga. Before I go into the presentation, a couple of remarks. Most of what I'm going to show you, you probably have heard already or seen already in some form or shape, given you are all working in the industry. What I'm going to give you is my view on the German-Australian connection of the critical minerals industry. And I want to give you a very honest view of that industry, stating the challenges, not really want to go downplayed or saying it's all bad, but really give you an honest view, and also then give you a bit of the outlook for the future. Of course, I can't predict what's going to happen in the future, but seeing what I'm seeing, I think we are making good progress. Also, I'm going to mention a couple of companies that are involved with Germany. If there's any other companies that have German-Australian relationships, please do let me know. In case I've missed you, I'm sorry for that already in advance. Quick look on Germany as a manufacturing company. Germany is one of the world's largest manufacturing nations, the world's third largest economy in terms of nominal GDP. Very strong manufacturing industry with a long history, very strong automotive sector, so 4% of the world's cars are being built in Germany, and German car companies like BMW, Mercedes, Volkswagen, that includes Audi, and Cupra and Lamborghini and whatever, and Audi as well, they are responsible for producing 15% of the world's cars, so quite significant. At the same time, Germany needs a lot of minerals. Germany does not produce a lot of minerals themselves. I mean, they produce stones and rocks and sand, but that's not really what is needed for cars or for the manufacturing industry. And especially when we look at critical minerals, Germany, for example, has a dependence of 100% for 14 critical minerals. So there is obviously a clash happening there, which needs to have some attention, which needs to be resolved. I've started, as Brandon mentioned, I started here in 2018. I came to Perth for the first time in 2018, and what I saw then was quite euphoria in the critical mineral sector. I remember back then I was visiting the Tianqi lithium critical minerals or lithium processing plant that was just being built there, and everybody was really happy to see what's going on. I got a lot of requests from Australian junior miners to be connected to the German industry. As a result, we saw a couple of offtake agreements between German and Australian companies. Back then, we produced this little chart of German-Australian connections. But since then, to be honest, not a lot has happened. We didn't see a lot of new agreements. We saw some disappointment on both sides. There was a lot of expectations from Australian companies in regards to what they can agree on with German companies, but not a lot did happen in the end, which was quite disappointing. But in the end, I'm seeing a little bit of an uptick in recent years. There's renewed interest. There's also, and that's from my perspective, the best news, there is good interest or renewed interest on the German side in minerals from Australia. What is Germany doing in terms of their raw material strategy? If you look at the big companies, the car companies, but also other big industry companies, and I want to be clear here, this is not what every company does, this is just the general sentiment I get, is they say I never want to change a running system. They have built up their supply chains for a lot, for many years. It has worked well, and they hope that it also will work well going forward. In some extreme cases, those companies are even hoping for external help from the government in case of a disaster, which I'm not sure is the best way going forward, but that's just the reality of big organizations sometimes. What I have seen in the past years is the German industry has built knowledge in the critical mineral sector. So if I speak to the car companies, they have built strong teams in the critical minerals area. I talk with German car manufacturers, talk about specific projects in Australia, and they know everything about it. So they are well aware of what's going on in the sector. They travel to Australia, they talk with companies. What we haven't seen so far is a lot of actions resulting from those discussions yet. Another strategy in terms of raw materials sourcing from the German industry is replacement or avoidance. So, of course, if you can replace critical minerals with other minerals, that is, of course, one of the ways that is happening. Not always possible, and depends on, for example, the battery chemistry that is being developed. Another strategy is avoiding critical minerals. That is, for example, something BMW is doing in their latest range of electric motors. They are just not using rare earths anymore in their battery, in their electric motors. They're losing a couple of percentage points of efficiency, but make up in other ways. So that can be a strategy. I think the biggest point here is price is king. The car manufacturers or the industry in Germany is just at the moment not in a position to pay higher prices. They are being attacked from all sides when it comes to competition. So that is something where, you know, we've seen a lot of hope from Australia that a price premium is something the Western industry is willing to pay. Let's see if that's going to happen in the future. It is certainly not happening at the moment. And of course, within the companies, you always have the dissonance between the purchasing teams, for whom lowest prices is the most important thing, and then the raw material strategy teams within those companies that would maybe be willing to pay higher prices, but there's just this mismatch between those two. So that's a quick overview of what's going on, how the German industry is thinking. But let's see what is happening now. What are the ways forward, or what's going on at the moment? Of course, we have global geopolitics. There's Trump. There's tensions with other countries, like China, for example. And at the same time, we're seeing that Europe and Australia is coming closer together. So we're seeing we have common values. We see joint collaboration, and we see maybe a renewed push for the free trade agreement, which would help make things easier in terms of trade between those two regions. We have just had elections in Germany, so a new German government is being set up as we speak. The question, which I cannot answer yet, is what does that happen for the German government's raw material policy? I'm quite certain that raw materials will be a strong focus for the German industry, German government. I'm sorry, but of course, time will tell how exactly that will shape. The German government has set up a raw materials fund worth 1 billion euros last year, and applications are open. And I heard that a couple of Australian companies have already applied for that raw materials fund, where Germany, the German government, in a world's first, or in a Germany's first, basically has agreed to invest in overseas critical minerals projects on an equity basis, which is something that the German government has not been comfortable doing in the past. So quite excited to see that, and hope that some of the Australian projects are going to benefit from that. Is there going to be any change to the Lieferketten-Sorgfaltspflichtengesetz? Sorry for that long word, and I have to get my phone out for the German English translation. That's the Act on Corporate Due Diligence in Supply Chains. So that's 8 English words in one German word. How's that for German efficiency? Is there going to be any change to that? We'll see as well. That might make it easier for companies to report on their sourcing strategies. Let's see. And of course, as a result from what we've seen above, how is the German industry reacting? Are we going to see any change there? I've seen a much increased focus on critical minerals. I've talked with one of the German car manufacturers recently, and you can feel the tension there. You can feel they are worried. Something is happening worldwide. What we've done in the past may not work in the future, so let's adjust. And I think that could be the good news. They are waking up. They see we can't potentially continue like we did in the past, so let's do something about it. So in summary, we'll see what's going to happen there, but I think the good news there is there's a willingness to work together with Australia, a strong willingness, and I think we'll see the results hopefully rather sooner than later. Another topic, and please allow me to do a little bit of advertising for German innovation here at this point. Another point that we can come together and make this happen, make the German-Australian critical minerals supply chain happen, is through innovation. We have 150 German METS companies in Australia that are supporting the local mining industry with innovation, with quality, reliability, durability, have been strong in research innovation for decades, for centuries. So what we've seen and what I would love to see more is that collaboration to bring together innovation from Germany with Australian mining companies to make that next step happening. We have a lot of German-Australian success stories already, and that's something that I definitely want to mention as well. That's just a couple of examples. What we're seeing here, we have some agreements between Australian and German companies. There's, for example, Arafura that has an offtake agreement with Siemens Gamesa. There is ThyssenKrupp Materials Trading that has done a couple of agreements with Ecograph, Hastings, Northern Minerals in the past. That's quite a couple of years ago. But we have Australian companies that are active in Germany. There's Pure Battery Technologies setting up a processing facility in Germany. Neo Metals, Vulcan Energy, the two gentlemen sitting over here, very strong activities in Germany. I'm not going to say more because I'm sure they will tell us a lot about it. And we also have German companies active in Australia. So that's not a lot, and that's what I want to see more in the future as well. We have stock market listed K+S, Kali and Salz, one of the largest German salt companies. They are working on a salt project in Western Australia, the Ashburton Salt Project. But we have not small, but medium-sized family-owned businesses, the so-called Mittelstand companies in Germany. They are active here in Australia. There's QMAG, Queensland Magnesia. That is a company that is owning a magnesia mine in Queensland. And there's Cronimet, a company that we're working quite closely together, and they are involved in EQ Resources, which is a tungsten mine in far north Queensland. So there's those examples where you see there is and can be German investment in the Australian mining sector, which compared to other countries is minuscule, but I would like to encourage that and to see more in the future. With that, running out of time, I just want to draw your attention to our event next week. So the German ambassador, Her Excellency Beate Cesky, is coming to Western Australia next week. We are organizing a small event. If you are interested, please scan the QR code there. We're going to talk about geopolitics, trade, and minerals. And I'm going to be around for the next day as well. So if you are interested in more information about Germany, please just ring me. You can see my phone number here. Would love to catch up with you. Thank you so much for your attention.